year has passed, both slow and fast, but my piece today is neither a homage or an anniversary newscast. It's a reflective monologue, my hope and my sorrow and introspective. The past year has set so much more into perspective, and I'm split on every level, every thought, and every blood vessel, because no future feels gentle when there's a storm howling at your door and it just won't settle. At least this is how it feels for me. It comes and goes, oh. Some days I'm so low, but some days I've savored lockdown in slow-mo. As a tracksuit virtuoso, I've started to dance in my kitchen. I'm finding this new ease. I'm relearning to move and breathe and hearing to listen and taking my time and doing absolutely nothing. It's just fine. More than that, it's liberating. I don't know about you, but the past year has radically forced me to rethink and reconsider how I've been spending my time and my energies. And thinking back to this unconscious day-to-day, how many nameless faces was I trying to please? But also, how many nameless faces should I have said hi to on the street? The clockwork has run loose on most of our drilled-in commutes, except for frontline workers and those working to survive too. There's less buses, there's less routes, there's less rushing, there's less rush hour tube, there's no rush hour tube. There's no meal prep Tupperware Jengas, no more carrying around empty tote bags full of rattling containers, no more mind the gap, mind your back, whoops, I'm sorry, get behind the yellow line, please let passengers off the train before boarding. At least that's how it feels for me. Comes and goes though. Some days I'm on top of the world and some days I am falling oh so low. And I'm dipping and diving through this paralyzing angst and dread, and my joy and my hope is fettered because deep inside, I feel like this might not get better. And there's this bitter taste on my tongue, and it just won't settle. This is one story, one narrative. But there's billions more and they're not always comparable. There's suffering that's gut-wrenching and heartbreaking and terrible. We're all in the same storm, but we were in different boats with 7 billion different variables. And that's when it goes low. That rush hour hasn't slowed. There's a lot of boats bracing the storm with no anchor to hold. Some with no place to call home. Some watch the storm from a throne, and in silence some will suffer so alone. And in the beginning, I'd cry when I see the daily death toll. Now sometimes I look at them without a second glance. It's remarkable how the human mind can adapt to a new normality, a new fatality when it needs a chance, a numbing rationality to the circumstance. Now, what would I know what it's like to be a single mother? Working full-time with 3 kids smothered in supper, exhausted. She can't bring her kids to her brother. Her mother is sick, they almost lost her. And if the virus hits and she gets sick, could she bear to think what that would cost her? And I wonder about the elderly neighbor, grieving. He lost his wife last summer. His days turn to frost, the pain doesn't stop, and his morning walks have turned to slumber. She wasn't just another number. She was his wife, his life, his wonder, and she was not just another number. And what about all the ones that I don't know and the ones that I don't see? Barracks brimmed with violence, asylum and refugees, prisons spiraling, no space to hide from the virus, signs saying, please rescue me. All those sleeping rough, no one wants to touch, no one is out much. It's been 2 days since that last lunch, and every week there's someone new on the sidewalk hunched. The healthcare is crumbling. Nurses with PTSD, doctors with depression, healthcare staff screaming for a raise and protection, saying, please rescue me. When, what, and if this storm recedes, what are we going back to? What about the nauseating surge in domestic violence? The domestic abuse, and from the first week of lockdown, where you have hotlines ringing and doubling and tripling from the UK to Tunisia to Colombia, partners are knocked down. When, what, and if this storm recedes, what are we going back to? A UN inspector had to come to the UK in 2018 to investigate extreme poverty. He found that 1/5 of the population was living in it. 40% of children were predicted to be living in poverty by 2021. That's this year, and those were pre-corona numbers at a time when youth services has been cut by 70% in a decade. We can't go back to how it's been. We can't go back to normality. Bear with me, all of us cannot wait to see friends and family, but when we talk about shaping a future worth investing in, the past shouldn't be our guideline or our blueprint. Things were not okay in the first place. At this point, going back to how it used to be is more of a threat than a reassurance. We're not at the brim of a fault line, we are living in it. Life as we know it has been flipped on its head. We've turned the world upside down for a cure, but we haven't addressed the underlying problem. There's no sustainable solving. The next pandemic is just around the corner and getting stronger. This is a worldwide responsibility. We cannot just blame it on foreigners. We are walking straight back into a disaster, and these are facts and not omens. Everything is so fragile. Things are so delicate. And it worries me. I need to invest in the future to go forward and not back. You can't rebuild ruins with super glue and blue tack. The weeds have always been stronger than the pavement. Crises opens up spaces. It's up to us to guide the direction and shape it. Being creative with a solution is the must. And the creative solutions must be discussed. Dream big, and maybe I'm just not dreaming big enough. What can I input? Should I wait? What can I take? What can I give? What can I make? Is it too late? And what if I take off this masochistic cloak of gripping ache? And focus. Remember, breathe through the headlines. 7 billion different narratives. Why am I allowing this one to guide mine? In every case throughout the pandemic, people have stepped up. Communities have mobilized, and every day I saw people go out of the way to help others, most more than twice. Mutual aid groups for food and shelter, teachers uniting to keep kids together, volunteered at the food banks no matter the weather, and people driving out to hold up signs of solidarity outside the barbed wire fences of detention centers. It's been the daily acts of kindness. This coffee's on the house. I brought you bread and flowers. Take some time off. I'll take your kids to the park. It's been the, hey, come outside. I'm out front with lunch. It's been the, I wouldn't worry about that. We've paid your rent this month. Local leaders are rising, the gardens are thriving, there's books, recipes, skill shares, and advice that are exchanged with curiosity and smiling. No one ever said our solution will be faced alone. Everything you want to change is already in motion. Find the current, find the movement, find your allies, fight for this improvement. Dream big, dream bigger, dream biggest. This is one story, one hope, one narrative. There's billions more. But you know what? Maybe they are comparable.